Checking, testing, 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 testing. How do we sound? Testing for guitar and voice. Guitar and voice good? Can you hear me? I need to get this close. Can you hear me from here? Okay. Okay. And can you hear the guitar? You can hear the guitar? Guitar good? Yeah, but can you hear the guitar? Can you hear the guitar? Guitar's good? Okay.
Well, I'm not sure I'll need too much miking because my instrument's a lot louder than the piano. I'm not sure if will it overload that mic.
So you don't need a mic at all?
Probably not. If anything, mic on her.
But if you don't mic and this gets broadcast.
Yeah, I'm just making sure like if I'm close to it, will it like max out the microphone? 'Cause I'm about to
Maybe you need to be.
Yeah, I just need to be able to hear the piano too, so I can't stand too far away from it. Like about here would be probably where I feel comfortable.
You'll know within the first couple of seconds if there's a problem, right?
Well, I won't be hearing the.
He won't be hearing that and he won't know if anything needs changing.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if through the broadcast, if it'll pick too much up on the microphone for me. So I wouldn't be able to hear it because it's going through the broadcast.
So should we ask him in the sound?
Maybe. If he like.
Can you ask him to check it real? Could you go back and ask him, Mike?
The balance is okay. Yeah. We could play like
Let's start at letter A or something.
yeah, letter A would be fine. Should we wait till like gives us a thumbs up or something?
Okay? Go ahead.
All right.
I'm going to give you 2 measures. Is it all right?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. This is good.
Yeah. So you know they'll do the garden song and then we'll do
Yeah,
one
and
thing.
then we're up. Go a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Same place.
All right. Are we good? I think we're good. Yes? Yes, but I'm playing with him. I need to see him.
So I'm gonna angle this.
Oh,
And
does
make
that
it
help the
more-
piano? Piano's too soft?
Yeah.
Okay.
We could do full stick if you want. I mean, Yeah,
Well,
try
I
it.
didn't want you to have to compete with me, but
don't
She
think
maybe.
it
needs to
will.
be able to see him.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why she's
okay.
got it down.
I don't know if that matters. Okay, put it on this stick right here.
There we go. Let's try it.
I'm gonna go closer.
Yeah, and that should actually just open that up.
I don't think
Let's aim it
that's
this
gonna,
way,
you
'cause we
need
don't
it
want
that
the horns
close
to
now.
get picked up. Is that good?
Should I do it one more time
Yeah,
then?
let's try it one time. All right.
Okay, yay, you did it. All right.
Let me get off of here.
Which way do you want it?
I got that part. Oh, I probably had it turned around.
No, it's a plug.
I'm sure that's on the list. It's on a list. Good morning and welcome to the Universalist Unitarian Church of Farmington. We are going to sing this morning, and I'm going to ask you to leave your mask on, as I will, but the chorus is listed in your order of service. If Michael moves around a little, you'll catch up with him. And it's a nice little garden song for our food theme today. If you are willing and able, let me explain what that means. That means if you're tired from the night before, or if you would just rather sit, or if for any reason you're not up to standing through a song, don't ever feel pressured to do that. So when we say if you're willing and able, don't struggle. This is the time that we give you for your space of sanctuary and rest. So with all that said, if you are willing and able, you can stand.
Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Pulling weeds and picking stones, we are made of dreams and bones. Need to grow my own, for the time is close at hand. Grain for grain, sun and rain, find my way in nature's drain. Tune my body and my brain to the music of the land. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Plant your rows straight and long, temper them with prayer and song. Mother Earth will make you strong if you give her love and care. That old crow looking hungrily from its perch on yonder tree. In my garden I'm as free as that feathered thief up there. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row. Someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Till the rain comes tumbling down.
Please be seated. As we move into this beautiful month of August, we are grateful for the change in the weather, the temperature going down, the humidity still maintaining its Michigan reputation to keep us all wrinkle-free for the rest of our lives. We welcome each and every one of you. Some of you may be visitors. If you are, our children today are with Natalie Dargetz and the Religious Education Committee, and we're keeping them safe and keeping us safe with a little bit of separation. We have some announcements today, and I'm actually going to put the announcements up here in the front so that you can enjoy the music without any other to-dos or new information coming in. Our new board president is Elizabeth Knight. She's fine to be called Liz, too, so she doesn't have sensitivities around that. And she has quite a few important announcements for us today.
Good morning. So I have a couple announcements. If you saw it in the special e-blast this week, or if not, it'll be news to you. But while September is traditionally the start of a new school year, I'm pleased to announce that September will also be a new start for UUCF as well. The members of the interim minister search team and the board have selected a new interim minister, Reverend Glenn Fairley, to start work as an interim minister here with us in September. Reverend Glenn comes to us as a lifelong UU with experience well suited for our community, both in work with similar congregation sizes and demographics, and also notable experience with religious education that'll support our growing youth programs. Reverend Leonetta's last day in the pulpit will be Sunday, August 22nd. And while, of course, we are saddened to see her leave, we join her in celebration in this new chapter of her life, her retirement. Look for more details from the membership committee in the next few weeks, of course, for a retirement party celebration. During the transition, we will be closed the Labor Day Sunday, that's September 5th, and we will not have service, so we encourage you to enjoy the extended holiday with your family, friends, and community. And then Reverend Glenn's first Sunday in the pulpit here will be Sunday, September 12th. So, and I know we're all looking forward to meeting him in person, and we are just blessed to be in a congregation that's so supportive of our leadership, Reverend Leonetta, and I know will be a welcome home for Reverend Glenn. In addition to that, the board this week approved and accepted warmly a beautiful gift from Dave Fredericks, Dennis Slotnick, and their mothers, Esther and Virginia, all jointly, to install a solar panel down on the lower level by the sign that will provide some energy here to the building. So it's a very generous gift. You'll see that construction happening in the next few months or so, give or take. It shouldn't be a long process. Dave's indicated it'll probably take a week, give or take, on the work. And when we get a finalized date, if there are individuals who are interested in watching that progress or having a hand, we'll have more information for you on that as well. So, any questions on any of the above? See me. Thank you.
Are there any other announcements? David, would you mind standing up just so everyone can see the face behind the sun? Thank you so much. Look forward to other energy initiatives following. Today we have very special music from Ian Lester, Denise Lester's son, and also Diane Nolan. I'm sure has had some parenting commentary through the years that have brought you to this place in your life that we get to enjoy with your gift. Thank you for being here. And if you want to say the name of the instrument, I'll let you say that.
For sure. All right, so this is a euphonium. It's basically like a little tuba. It's often found in military bands and British brass bands, but it's actually usually not found in an orchestra. So we're a little limited on jobs for this instrument. But yeah, so it has about the same range as a cello, but it's a brass instrument, obviously. So I hope you enjoy the first piece I'm going to play for you, Michelangelo.
Would you please join me in reading responsibly the litany? This is our sacred time and space to renew our spirits, to explore the mystery, and to share joys and sorrow. With you, I find strength. With me, you can share your deepest self. We share triumphs, and they inspire. We share joy, and it multiplies. May the flame of our chalice guide us into full experiences as beloved community. The gifts that you share today allows us to help others in the wider world as we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of all people. story that is told, our friendship becomes a piece of art. Each passage of life is a gateway to the heart. We have joys and shocked sorrows, and the music of our learning can be danced in love and harmony. Each day of this earth's turning becomes a part of that art. So, some of you may have texted me a joy or concern, and Barb Iavan texted in that she had a restless night sleeping, and so she wasn't here today, unfortunately, to hear the litany that she requested that we integrated into our order of service. But luckily, she, like others, are watching online. Does anyone have a joy or a sorrow that they would? Well, I hope that you can take advantage of the beautiful parking lot that it was Barb's initiative and idea to move forward with that, and all of you contributed in such grand ways. Little did we know that a COVID crisis was going to give us the perfect place to have good weather services outdoors, and today that'll be the place that we gather after service. And instead of having a coffee hour, we will just have a chit-chat on the beautiful parking lot time. Those joys and concerns that you share during that time, those joys and concerns that you share in the various group meetings that you continue to have throughout the summer, all of those conversations become a part of our knitted together fabric of a beautiful community. I would like you to take a moment, if you will. I would like you to take a moment and become unencumbered with thoughts and hymnals, and close your eyes. And on this Lughnasa, which I will explain the first fruits, but that's enough for our meditation to know this is the time when the first harvest comes in. I would like you to draw in your mind's eye a time when you picked something off the vine. May have been a blueberry or a peach or an apple or a fresh tomato or a cucumber, and think of where you were in that time and space. What was your age? What was the weather like? What was your family like? What was your awareness of that outdoor experience? The colors and the hues of the sky and the brightness of the crop that you touched for that time are embedded in your memory, in your spirit, in your soul. I'd like you to extend that experience into the experience of being at a table with your family and drawing in what the smells and tastes and sights of that time would have been. As Unitarian Universalists, we are truly blessed with memory. We are truly blessed in nourishing and feeding each other with beautiful connections to our inside soul and beautiful gifts to give one another, from music that feeds our hearts and our minds and our ears to food that feeds our bodies. May each of us continue to draw our memories forward and make new memories surrounded by the first harvest. Would you join with me, please? From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and by this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and by this we live. In just a moment, even with our mask on, I want you to find one person that can be right next to you. That's fine. But just find one person that you can make eye contact with, and we'll sing this song again. Try playing the piano and doing it. This is it, bud. I think that's a good lead into a food sermon. Lughnasa. Lughnasa was a god, a Celtic god, and he shows up at this time of the year, as the old story goes, very old story goes, to make sure that the blight doesn't take over the crops so that all the people can be fed. This holiday has been ritualized and celebrated in Celtic areas of the world, in the Isle of Man, in England and Ireland, and often the rituals occur on mountaintops. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. But it's easier to breathe down here, so we'll stay down here for today. I chose this first harvest day to lend us a mythic, historic connection, if you will, to food, which is a very big part of all of our lives. Joseph Grassi says it is essential that both aspects of broken bread be remembered. It is a symbol of spiritual nourishment and it is called For Actual Food for the Hungry. I think it's interesting that when you bring up the word bread now, it causes all kinds of new anxieties that weren't around 5 years ago for sure. Some people are gluten-free and some people are trying to balance calories, and bread used to be this innocent topic. Maybe that's where I could have went in the meditation. Remember when bread was innocent? But the idea of sharing bread also brings the idea of hospitality. When we look back to the Hebrew Old Testament for instances of pacts and agreements, they were sealed by groups of people who symbolically became members of the same clan by breaking bread together. Isaac confined that peace treaty by creating a feast where they ate and drank and took the oath to keep the agreement in Genesis 26:30. Jacob and Laban settled their long differences with a covenant of peace and an all-night picnic on the mountain, and that was from Genesis as well. Some just used a covenant of salt that was made to assure that that covenant would be permanent and unbreakable. In the New Testament, sharing of food as a symbol of unity was a central theme. In Luke's writing, it is mentioned 31 times, 26 in Mark, 20 in Matthew, and 14 in John. Food was seen as a central theological component, with a meal becoming a symbol of unity in the faith. That common meal has religious history behind it, and it is made in the context of many pieces of literature that you will call to mind, and movies. Remember the Great Fest, for example, in Babette's Feast, and how grim and pious Scandinavian religious groups warmed to love and then respected one another differently through a transformative power as the great feast was created and shared together. And some of you enjoyed, without traveling, but reading the book Eat, Pray, Love. Elizabeth Gilbert emphasized that healing of her depression after a divorce as she traveled to Italy to eat the most amazing food before continuing on in travels to pray in Tibet and find love and love herself again. We all need to be fed. The nutritious food, yes, but also with love. Some needs are closely intertwined. It is impossible for us to separate them. Each of us in this room has either bribed or been bribed with food, or been rewarded or given a reward in the form of food. No, this is not some sin, Unitarian, Universalist type or otherwise. The point is that food is often used to express our feelings and emotional state to one another. For the person who does not eat to live, but eats to be comforted, eats to fill an empty void, or eats to deny their own responses and feelings to situation, food is not always a safe material to use as a reward. Imagine food being used as fuel rather than favor. What would it mean, Matthew Fox said, what would it mean to live in a nurturing society, one where both men and women nurtured themselves, one and all others? And then from that theological point, what would it mean to recover a tradition of Sophia wisdom in God as mother, God as giver of all things, and giving food as well? A simple example might be that some of you can identify with. Sometimes we're lonesome or bored, and we really need some human contact in the form of a hug. Boy, didn't we all experience this during the COVID time. An empathetic conversation or even a back rub. Food cannot meet those needs. Try as we might, many use food to serve as a substitute for the human understanding and touch. Food is then at that time, not used as nutrition, but it's actually a drug, and it causes a numbing, avoiding effect on spiritual and physical system. We can overeat and literally fill up enough to feel that we are hugged by ourselves, and that additional mass will carry us through to the next moment and get us through an emotional time. The alternative for reaching for a substitute to the hug is actually asking for what you need. Saying, I need a hug, calling a friend, asking if we could talk, maybe a type 3 or 4 conversation, or when all else fails, make an appointment for a massage. You see, some of the reason I'm attracted to this topic is that I've had a love-hate relationship with food just about all my life. Mostly loving it, but then hating the results and battling the results of maybe loving it a little too much and being raised in an era when food was definitely used as a reward. Anne Creech says that Unitarian Universalists believe that all life is sacred, all existence is interconnected, and that justice and compassion must be the foundation of our thoughts and deeds. That's one of the elevator comments. So all life being sacred, all existence is interconnected, and that justice and compassion must be the foundation of our thoughts and deeds. And so we move on, and I look back a little bit when I made a choice. I couldn't remember that I knew the exact date, December 17th, 1979. 32 years ago, I decided to be alcohol-free. Don't feel bad. I didn't have a big struggle with the alcohol. That was just a gateway to have more pizza. But I became an alcohol-free vegetarian. Believe me, the vegetarian choice of this decision was not that difficult, but a little bit, especially when you came to the topics of pastrami, ham, corned beef, bacon, all in the pork line, all in the sweet line. I had little use for beer or wine, and much less anything more exotic other than I loved amaretto and cream, another sweet choice. I believed at that time, and I still do, that animals do not have to suffer, much less die for me to live. And here I am 32 years later proving that. I know that I can live this healthy life and a happy life without meat or poultry, and it's a personal decision. This is I'll have 2 more sermons after this, so I'm not going to leave you with any guilt. If you brought guilt in, you'll take it out, or you can leave it up here, and our custodian will take care of it during the week. Now, and back in 1979, I started finding out about the processes used in our country to prepare animals for our dinner table. To be there at that dinner table and to have that kind of guilt and thinking what had to happen for the food in that area category to become a part of my meal forced me to make the change. Testimonials from A Diet from a New Planet by John Robbins said virtually all chickens raised in the U.S. today are fed on a diet laced with antibiotics from the very first day to their last. Without those antibiotics, the industry could not maintain the intensive farming practices. An awful lot of them die anyway before we can get our profit out of them. Without antibiotics, why would we use these backward practices of yesterday? And now we have other alternatives. Cost a little more, but it's usually worth it in the taste. Actually, it costs probably close to double to buy organic. But when you think each person is only supposed to eat that much chicken at a meal or that much beef at a meal, it's worth it in your family to choose organic. The immediate hunger that takes over us is kind of almost, it's an automatic response after every few hours. But then if you start making intentional choices as to what you eat, it'll make a difference. The cost of a hamburger would be $35 a pound if we fed the cow in a proper way and let him roam in good outside places. And so these choices are complicated. So consider this. Consider being mindful in your choices. Consider this intentional mindfulness. Some of you might even consider the way that you eat. Years ago, we went to a workshop in Estes Park, Colorado with Thich Nhat Hanh for a week, and he would have silent meals. And so that experience that we had of looking into one person's eyes, we'd have that experience during the meal because the whole meal was silent. And so we were more intentional about our chewing, and we were more intentional about the pace, and we were more intentional about our expressions to one another. Being intentional is exactly what Barbara Kingsolver and her husband Stephen Hopp and their daughters Camille and Amy took off with in an amazing book called Animal Vegetable Miracle. Don't read this in the summer. Read it in the dead of winter, and summer will be brought to you. That was the year they took an entire year and they lived off the land. The challenges of weather, the crops gone bad, creating appealing recipes from limited selections of local harvests, all are recounted in this book, as well as recipes from the daughter as she gathered and wrote down what her mother was putting together of the crops that they could store through the winter. And so I think that our food and our intentional choices and our mindfulness can come down to this. Same as real estate. Location, location, location. Where does your food come from? What location do you look, when you look at a package and you're buying blueberries in the dead of winter, what country are they coming from? Or what part of the United States are they coming from? What do we do and where do we prepare our food? Is it prepared on a grill or in a microwave, or is it prepared behind the door in a restaurant, not knowing what has been put in it or what kind of energy has been used while it was prepared? And then where do we eat it? Kingsolver says that cooking is good citizenship. It's the only way to get serious about putting locally raised food into your diet, which keeps farmlands healthy and grocery money in the neighborhood. Cooking and eating with children teaches them civility, practical skills they can use to save money and to stay healthy, and wherever they are, to be happy. The family and I put a premium on the legitimate completing interest of creating our cooking together. Because if grabbing fast food is the only way to get the kids to their healthy, fresh air soccer practice on time, sometimes that's what you have to do. And I think I shared this disappointment that my grandson shared with me. I love Taco Bell as fast food for a vegetarian. And then he told me they use powdered beans and they bring them back to life. But I guess it's economical to store them that way. All of the things that we find behind the scenes about food inform our choices. There's a poem by Rilke called The Holy Art of Savoring. He says, "Dance the orange, who can forget it? How drawing in itself, it grew against its being sweet. You have possessed it. It has been deliciously converted into you. So dance the orange." Every orange one eats or a glass of tea one drinks is a gift from 20 billion years of cosmic energy. And so all of this moves down to become part of who we are. We don't want to trivialize food, We don't want to come to a meeting place to hold higher what is important to us and feel confused about what choices to make next. But you can make little choices. One of the little choices that I've tried to make is blessing my food. And that can come in a variety of ways for Unitarian Universalists. But most importantly, I think it offers you a time to pause before you eat with intention. And from you I receive, to you I give. Know who you're eating with, and appreciate all the colors on the plate, and then give thanks from where the food came from. Blessed be the earth for giving birth to this food, to the sun for nourishing it, and the wind for carrying the seed, and the rain for quenching its thirst. And our friend, Reverend Lynn Unger, has a beautiful poem for the communion, common prayer type nature. Sunday morning, she was at the marina, barely enough wind to keep the kites aloft, and so they drifted to the ground. So nibbling on bagels and chocolate, giant loose-skinned oranges, random poetry, blades of grass, sacraments and indulgences of the first harvest of the summer. And in that moment, before I went to sleep, I listened and I heard what had happened in my day, and the soles of my feet cried in Glorias in Sanctus. Placing the last chocolate in my mouth, I whispered, "This is my body. Take and eat it," and melted slowly on the earth's tongue. Each bite we take can be a communion for our own soul and our body. I'd like to reintroduce you to Hannah Kruger. Hannah Kruger was born in, she arrived in America in 1952 from Germany, and she was a professor in a large hospital in Dresden, and they used natural healing methods, and she went on to use these natural healing methods in food and recipes and other potions that she would make. The first health food stores in the country were in Boulder, Colorado, and she helped to introduce them. She used crops from her land, she used the milk from her cows, and it was said that the people that made the food there made it with intention and love and no stress. Can you imagine making a meal? Intention and love and no stress. Your favorite kind of music and maybe some of your favorite people at the butcher block in your kitchen. Location, location, location. Being your sous chefs and getting the meal ready. And so the energy that is exchanged is also important. I have heard that some new houses are being built without dining rooms, without kitchens, and that some people don't, they have the kitchens and the stove and the refrigerator, but they don't have a place for a table because everybody is scattered and with the accompaniment of their favorite entertainment. You've seen people in restaurants, a whole group of family, and they're not texting each other, they're just seeing what their other friends might be eating today or keeping in touch. Some things have changed, but they don't have to change altogether. Location, location, location. Where will your meals be held today? Where will your next favorite meal be held? I know for years I have looked forward to, and sometimes more currently with exhaustion, but creating the family dinner. And our little family being together and having real food that we cooked, and it wasn't a carry-out or a restaurant. Those are the times all of us will cherish. We can keep creating them and including the children and the elders. It's amazing how much you can give to even a 90-year-old at a table to chop, chop, chop. Just bring it to them and chop, chop, chop away, and it'll all come together. receiving the food that you eat, the nourishment that we've had today from beautiful music in the summertime, the nourishment we will have in the next few weeks of spiritual connections with each other, all will help to feed our internal selves so that we can become more stable beings walking out into the world. I would like to end the service by inviting you to come and see me on any of the upcoming Wednesdays between now and August 22nd. If somebody would like to give me suggestions for my retirement, or tell me where you're traveling the rest of the summer, or share a poem, or maybe pick up a beautiful item in the Marge Brown Room. In the next few weeks, look in the Marge Brown Room. Anything that's on the tables in the center, you can give a donation to church, and they're free for the taking because it's time to purge some books and other items. So have a wonderful Lughnasa day. Remember that your first harvest might be as simple as a tomato, a peach, and a cucumber. Or I think that's a zucchini, sorry. I almost brought the cucumber. You can chop, chop, chop away and have a fresh, beautiful, colorful life on one plate. So be it. For now, we will do the mask. And we'll see each other in the parking lot. Great music, huh? Oh man, I've never heard that. It's so, it's a low in tone. Yeah, I really like it.